Yeah, what is good, everybody? Welcome on in Philly Take with RB. We are live the night before the Sixers travel back home to take on the New York Knicks, and it's going to be a wild, wild game tomorrow night at the Wells Fargo Center. Season ticket holders, don't sell your damn tickets because everybody in this city better show up, show out, and it's time to build off of last night and that energy and just really taking over the entire Madison Square Garden and bring it back home and get it done. Welcome on in, everybody. I know we're a little bit late, but we got some good things lined up tonight. RB and my guy, Sean Barnard, joining me. I didn't know if we were going to get this in, but we're here, man. Sean, how are you feeling, man? We got to be pumped up, man, after last night.
We are back, RB, is how I'm feeling. Is that the season was this close to being over. That the hope, all this offseason stuff, we'd be switching into that mode. But no, Tyrese Maxey said, not yet. I'm not ready. I'm not going home. I want to play basketball some more. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So I do think this series is live again. They got to take care of business, got to win 2 more. It's not the easiest journey by any means, but I do see some life in this team, and I'm feeling optimistic far more than was the case for many days here.
28 seconds to go, and I was on the live show. People were like, yeah, the season's over. The Knicks trolls were coming through, and I even tweeted out like, that'll do it. And what do we know? Lo and behold, Tyrese Maxey comes through, hits an and 1-3, and then Josh Hart gets fouled. Good decision by Nick Nurse. Maybe one of the most underrated choices of the game. And the Sixers end up giving it back to Maxey. I was like, the whole last 5 minutes, I'm like, give it to Maxey. Just ride it with him, live or die. Embiid's not playing well. And Maxey pulls up from the logo and, in my opinion, caps off one of the best playoff performances that I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm still, like, I feel like I woke up drunk today on the energy and emotion from that game. Like, I could not believe it happened. I woke up and I'm like, was that a dream last night? Maxey's giving off? Like,
oh, yeah.
Like, we've never seen that Tyrese Maxey. And he just injected life back into this series. And like you said, man, we're back. We're here. We win one game. Guess what? Things get really, really interesting.
And that's what I wanted to highlight. What you just mentioned was that emotion right there. That Tyrese Maxey is turning mean right before our very eyes. And I mean that in the best way possible. That him firing up, screaming, getting flipped off by Ben Stiller and whoever else is in the crowd right there. I love every part of it. I love him walking the walk around the entire arena, talking the talk, screaming whatever he is, and post-game saying, I was saying some words that my grandma would not be happy about. I love all of that. I love every bit of him having his moment, him letting everyone know about it. And, dude, that's just a cold-blooded shot. We're talking about in Madison Square Garden, down 3-1 in a series, with your team needing every inch of it. So shout out to Tyrese Maxey, man. He truly is the real deal. Whatever anyone had as a ceiling for him, it's too low. That I'm not capping that guy under any circumstances. He's about to get paid this summer and deserves every cent of it.
Absolutely. Well said. Unbelievable. Welcome on in. Shout out to the members, everybody in here. Glad we could get this preview show in. I mean, it feels like everything's bang, 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 back and forth, up and down, and just back to back. And here we are. And ladies and gentlemen, I do want to announce before we get more to the conversation about tomorrow night, we are actually doing a ticket giveaway. And I will tell you guys momentarily how to get involved in that. But who knows? Maybe one lucky person out there in the show tonight will be going to Game 6 tomorrow. Like I said at the top, don't sell your tickets, season ticket holders. Don't do it. Don't let the Knicks invade the Wells Fargo Center. I think this crowd heard Joel Embiid, and they're going to answer back. They're not going to get punked again. They're not going to get embarrassed. This game's at 9 p.m. on a Thursday, which is insane.
Yeah.
And I think these people are coming out ready to rock. I think we're going to go. So we will get into that. That's how to enter the giveaway. It's courtesy of the Autograph app. They are the ones partnering with us for that. Shout out to all our great partners. But I'm excited to give some people out there a chance to enter and maybe go to the game tomorrow night. But before I do that, Sean, I just want to ask you, your initial confidence level, like scale 1 to 10, how are you feeling right now? Because, I said to begin the series, you can't win a Game 7 in MSG. But after the way that went down last night, the Knicks talking about us, choking a 5-point lead, choke a 6-point lead in 28 seconds, that is the type of moment, in my opinion, that can completely flip a series. That can
absolutely
shift momentum. And now I'm kind of confident, well, if the Sixers win tomorrow night, then all the pressure's on the New York Knicks.
I approach this series very confidently that the Sixers are the better basketball team. I still feel that way through 5 games, even with them being down 3-2. I still felt that way when they went down 2-0 and even when they were down 3-1. I mean, we're currently right now literally a screwed referee call away from being talking about the Sixers being 1 win away right now. And we're not going to dig down that path or get worried about it. I know that they're apparently Maxey traveled on that and 1 3-pointer according to the reports there. So
They want to talk about the refs now. They want to talk about the refs. Let's talk about the refs, Sean. not to cut you off, but nobody talks about that flagrant that was called last night when Embiid incidentally swiped Brunson. And what happened earlier in the game, right? Oh, because of the reversal of the roles, right? Mitchell Robinson shoved Kelly Oubre literally off the ground. Everything was fine then.
Embiid getting called for the offensive foul on the Mitchell Robinson 1-2 for where they called it. Like, that's absurd. Just
they want to use the refs now. Come on, man. We were ripped of the game. I agree with you. It should be 3-2 coming back home, Philadelphia.
Yeah, and I do think like both teams have clearly gotten screwed in different opportunities here. It's just been a really bad refereed series straight up, and the NBA does have like a legitimate refereeing issue just in general with the consistency with a lot of this. But nonetheless, you got to check rock, play ball, and find a way to get wins. I still think the Sixers team can do that. That I do think that they've found a little something, and especially getting that type of spark from Tyrese Maxey, that's momentum boost. And you're absolutely right about the pressure now being on the Knicks. That now they're the team that has their back against the wall, that they have to find a way to not blow this, that it's no longer this, Sixers trying to find a scrap away. There's a little bit of the mindset from the New York side of things of we can't be the team that lets this slip by and lets this go. So I'm feeling good. They got to take care of business 2 in a row. If they can look strong tomorrow, and I will throw in that we did not get the strongest Joel Embiid game by any means. In fact, one of his worst games that I would say, he still got the job done from the rebounding standpoint, defensive standpoint, and they needed him down the stretch there. So I'm not as hard on him as some, but I think he's not going to have that level of poor performance. I think he's going to be better tomorrow, and I do think the Sixers get another win.
Absolutely. And like you said, Joel was big time down the stretch, couple big defensive plays in overtime, and they will need that tomorrow. He did play 48 minutes. I mean, Maxey played 52. He was the first guy in the weight room after the game.
Yep.
Absolutely unbelievable performance. We'll talk more about that. But I want to know from the chat as well. Guys, drop your confidence level on a scale 1 to 10. I was asking them all game yesterday, what's your confidence level in winning? And I want to know that about game 6. Do you think the Sixers are going to win tomorrow night in game 6? On a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being most confident, 1 being not confident at all. What is your confidence level in the Sixers getting it done tomorrow night? Now, before I read some of those out, we'll give our thoughts as well. I want to talk about this ticket giveaway. Very simple. Let me go ahead and shout out to our partner here, Autograph, because they are hooking us up with a giveaway. And I hope somebody out there, ends up getting a lucky chance to go to the game tomorrow night. So let me go ahead and pull this up. Where are we at? There we go. So guys, this is it. And you can see the QR code on the bottom of the screen, and you can see it here as well. All you have to do to enter the giveaway for 2 tickets to tomorrow night's game, scan this QR code on the screen or just click the link pinned in the YouTube chat and then sign up for a free Autograph account. Their app is 100% free. Sign up, and then the offer will come right after you sign up, and you just click claim the free game 6 ticket, and you'll be entered into the giveaway. The drawing is tomorrow at noon, 12 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to enter the giveaway, or somebody that may want to go and you want to enter for them, scan this QR code or click the link pinned in the chat, sign up for a free Autograph account, and claim the offer to enter the giveaway. All the details will be in the app, and I hope somebody out there gets a lucky chance to go to game 6 tomorrow night and root on our 76ers, because it is going to be fire, man. I am pumped. So we will talk about this more as we go on, but let's go ahead and read out some in the chat. What do we think, man? What do we think? There we go. Confidence level, I see 10s. All 10s flowing in the chat. I see 6. I see a 19, 7.5, 7, 10. It seems like a lot of people are confident now, and I would have to agree, man, because like you said, Joel Embiid didn't play his best game.
Yep.
The Knicks, I feel like, still haven't played a complete game as a unit. Like, these teams are not that far off from each other. And even Brunson last night dropping 40, it was not that efficient. So I feel like the Sixers have the edge here, man. And coming back home, I don't think they will slip up again on their home floor. I think it'll be a tight cardiac game. But if the supporting cast can step up again, if Tobias Harris can give you 18 points, if Kelly Oubre can hit you a couple threes, there's no reason the Sixers are not the better team tomorrow night and don't come out with a W with a game 7 on Saturday night.
And by the way, we've dragged this guy through the mud plenty of times. Tobias Harris, man. That Tobias Harris game last night, that's what we're looking for. 7 of 11 from the field, 19 points, 2 big-time free throws when the game was still up for grabs. Shout out to Toby, man. Like, he played well last night, and that's the exact version that we want. I don't need Mr. Tell a friend to tell a friend, Mr. Assassin Score. Just play within your role, do your thing, compete defensively, and give this team a little jolt of offense when it needed. Those 2 corner three-pointers were huge. That should be his shot. That's the type of shot that Tobias Harris should be licking his chops looking to get, and it feels like the ones that he passes out of so often. So I was really encouraged by seeing that version of Tobias Harris. I do think Kelly Oubre has been pretty solid this series. Still think they could use some help beyond that. Batum, it's been a bit up and down, but he's been terrific defensively, so I won't be hard on him. And he also had that block on Brunson down the stretch. So I think we're getting something out of the supporting cast more so than past years, but it's certainly not these bucket getters or guys that can, carry the offense. I do think the injuries to guys like DeAnthony Melton, Robert Covington, you're especially feeling in this type of matchup, but it is going to come down to Tyrese and Joel. I feel that we need a better Joel Embiid performance. That's where my eyes are squarely on for tomorrow. That if it is a little bit of the lackluster energy, the sloppy turnovers that he had 9 last night, that cannot happen. Then we're talking about 1-2-3 Cancun, not 1-2-3. Give me the Indiana Pacers. So need it from Joel Embiid to step up and bring it. I have faith in him to do it. And my last point with this is beyond just kind of the execution stuff, some of the sloppiness. When you looked at like his 50-point game, there was an energy and an intent that he brought to that game that it wasn't there last night. We need that version of Joel, a locked in, fired up, doing everything it takes to win. I will be more kind of locked into the energy level that he's bringing, what he's expressing to teammates than I think the actual production itself, but we need it from him. It's got to be an Embiid game.
I love everything you said, and I'm even going to add on top of it. I think last night we saw a changing of the guard. Now, you and I knew this, Sixer Nation knew this, but Tyrese Maxey put on in front of the world last night a showcase, right?
Yeah.
And not only did he do that, but he did it in an elimination game in a really tough place to play. The environment was heating up. Everybody was standing on their feet, and Maxey went out there and shut up the entire MSG.
Yeah.
And I feel like now we know going forward, because we know Joel's playing banged up. He's playing with 3 different injuries. But coming down the stretch of a game, it doesn't just have to rely on Joel hero ball. Tyrese Maxey can take us home. And we knew that all year. We saw it in the fourth quarter, but now everybody knows it. And now this team has that confidence in a playoff series where if Joel's playing sloppy, which again, I hope he doesn't. I know he's hurt and stuff, but he should be establishing himself a lot earlier in the game. I thought he did that in the third, fourth quarter. He needs to do that from the jump, because let's be honest, the Knicks cannot guard him, even with his ailments.
Yeah.
But if he's sloppy, I think we saw last night that Tyrese Maxey can be that guy. And I would trust him in the fourth quarter, even tomorrow night. Like, I would trust Maxey. Go get us the win. Go out there and score 15 in the fourth and take us home. And I think now Joel, obviously always had that trust, but now we've seen it in the biggest moment. And it's like, damn, Tyrese can be the focal point of the offense in the fourth quarter.
Absolutely, he can. And I do think like a cool storyline of this series and what I hope will be the playoffs as a whole, it is Tyrese Maxey's like coming out party on the national stage that we've all seen this front and center for years now in Philadelphia, that I think everyone here has bought into who this kid is, but he doesn't receive the respect naturally that he deserves and that his talent commands. That you're seeing some of these takes, the surprise that he has Knicks fans shivering and scared right now at the level that he's playing at, and he should, because he is that elite of a talent. And it's cool how much his game has become complete, that we saw him for the start of the season adapt to a point guard role for really a time in which like people question if he was capable of doing that we've seen him more natural as a scorer, a guy that can give you offense, to see him adapt and be a playmaker and learn how to do these things, carry himself as a leader of the team. And then when you talk about his actual scoring ability, it's always been the threat of the drive, because he legitimately is the fastest player in the entire NBA. But I don't think there's another dude that has the quick downhill pace of Tyrese Maxey. To add to that, he's figured out how to compose himself a little more. Some of these stutter steps, the way that he euros through the lane, his finishing package truly is elite. Kyrie Irving's the only guy I think is better than him when you're talking about just around the rim finishes. And that's ridiculous to say for a guy who, again, is still 23 years old and improving. Then on top of that, the 3-point shot, and then the sidestep, the step back, the way that he gets to his mid-range now, it's just become so complete for Tyrese Maxey that he can beat you in a million different ways. And there is not a way to neutralize a guy when he has that many options.
Yeah, and I don't think Maxey's going to have another 46-point game tomorrow. If he does, I mean, put this guy on the freaking Mount Rushmore of NBA players. Look, I don't expect him to do that every game. It was incredible what he did last night. It took our breath away. But if Joel Embiid plays 10% better, the Sixers win that game by 20 points. If Tobias Harris shows up tomorrow night and gives you 15, that's all we're asking for. If Kelly Oubre can give you a couple big-time plays, Nico Batum, I thought played really good defense on Brunson at the end of the game. You know, obviously Brunson had 40, but he missed the one at the end of regulation. And then in overtime, he had a couple bad turnovers, but it was forced by good defense by Batum. If you can just get a little bit more out of this supporting cast with consistency, and I've been a big advocate of this in this series because I see people blaming Embiid, and I know he's playing on, you know, all these injuries, et cetera, and I know he's trying. Obviously, he can't go out there with the poor body language. But if the supporting cast plays better, as you saw, Embiid doesn't have to, drop 45, 15, and 10. This team can help him out, and that was the formula for success. And, it's not like the Knicks are setting the world on fire, right? We haven't had a DiVincenzo game. McBride's been up and down. Hart started off really hot and, hasn't been able to really score that much. So I think, like you said, going back to the top, the Sixers are the better team, in my opinion. Knicks fans get mad when you say that. Not that the Knicks are bad. The Knicks play with more of an identity, with more grit. But if the Sixers can get a little bit more out of these guys, even Campaign, who can come in off the bench and shake things up a little bit, I don't see a reason why the Sixers have a stinker tomorrow night and lose this game unless they just shoot 5 for 30 from the 3-point range and they just can't hit anything.
Yeah, and I'm absolutely with you that I've said it with my chest from start to finish. I do think the Sixers are absolutely the better team here. And I did want to bounce this off you a little bit. So the pushback that I always receive with this, that the top 3 players in this series are absolutely Joel Embiid, Jalen Brunson, and Tyrese Maxey. And the pushback that you'll get from Knicks fans is when you look beyond that, the 3 through 10 of this series, the Knicks do have an advantage in some regard. But my pushback, my counter to that is, where does Kelly Oubre fit into that equation? Because frankly, I think Kelly Oubre is better than Josh Hart, can go toe-to-toe with Dante DiVincenzo. OG Anunoby, I give him the acknowledgement that I will give him the love there. But I think that this is not a clean sweep in the way that I think a lot of the pushback is. That Kelly Oubre specifically is a guy I do want to stick up for as a winning player and a guy that is right in the mix from a talent level with each of these guys. And I, by the way, completely agree with your point on the identity from the Knicks side of things, and also out of a respect thing. I do think these are the second and third best teams in the Eastern Conference. So it is unfortunate how the bracket shook out for this to be a first-round matchup.
Yeah, this is one of the best first-round series I've seen, but I agree with you on Kelly Oubre. I think he's a winning-type player. I think he came into this series a little bit unsure and unconfident of his ability, and I think now he's starting to wake up. We're seeing the, throw it down and flex to the crowd, Kelly Oubre, and I think he was just playing a little too timid, to begin this series, but I mean, it's weird. And I want to bounce this off you as well. The way that the Sixers are playing, I feel like is different than at the end of the season. I feel like Joel's catching the ball almost every possession at the top of the key and trying to operate from there. And I don't understand why. And I was screaming it yesterday, and he started to establish himself down low. And let's be honest, Mitchell Robinson can't guard one-legged Joel Embiid. Isaiah Hartenstein can't guard Joel Embiid. Yeah. I feel like that's how you get other guys involved. We started to see more cuts with Kelly Oubre. We started to see Tobias getting some open looks in the corner. I feel like that's where the offense has to be created from Joel establishing himself down low, the big barrier that he is, and just creating looks out of that, with the double teams and the traps, because the Knicks are bringing it. I think it all starts with Joel's body language, really, and his ability to get down there, whether he's healthy or not. And I feel like everything gets generated out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is frustrating to me. Obviously, we know when Joel Embiid got hurt, and it's not his fault that during the portion of the season. But what I am disappointed is I think to that point, we saw Nick Nurse pretty tactically adding to the offense. That they were adding layers, building the 2-man action between Embiid and Maxey was awesome at the start of the year. And then obviously there was the 2-month period in which Joel was out. Since he's returned, it hasn't been the seamless step back and pick up where they left on, and a lot of that. I do think the offense has been less creative, that there hasn't been as much too much action, two-man action, a little bit too much Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, hero ball, go save us. But the bottom line is, like, I do think there's a level they haven't unpacked yet. It's also very clear that even Embiid not playing his best, just how much better the Sixers are with him on the floor and how much more sense everyone's role makes. And I do think that's really telling about a player. So we'll see how it shakes out. I do hope that there's a cleaner offensive just strategy game plan and guys getting going early tomorrow. But I am optimistic that there's room for growth and that will be the case.
And Joel Embiid's bad night last night was a triple-double.
Double.
It was
Yeah.
19, 16, and 10 with 4 blocks, and he had some of the biggest plays of the game in overtime, playing 48 minutes with 3 different injuries. So you got to give him credit for that. I think everybody showed up, and I really think last night is the type of game that injects that confidence into this team. It would really surprise me if they go out tomorrow night and they stink it up and lose by 15 to 20. Like, I just don't see that happening. I think they have that confidence now, and they really have handed the torch to Tyrese Maxey. I want to talk about some keys and stuff, but once again, welcome on in, everybody. Be sure to like the show, share the show, subscribe to the channel, support Sean on every platform, does some of the best work. And once again, guys, there's a link pinned in the chat. You can scan the QR code at the bottom of the screen and sign up using the code PhillyTake if you want to enter for a chance to win 2 tickets to tomorrow night's game in Philadelphia against the New York Knicks. So again, Sixers versus Knicks tomorrow night, giving away 2 tickets. You got to sign up through the app, and we'll get those steps up here again in a little bit. But Sean, what's your number one key? What's the number one adjustment tomorrow night? Nick Nurse, Tom Thibodeau, they have some work to do. Nick Nurse, by the way, broke his hand or his finger. I don't know what the final diagnosis was, but I love my coach pounding on the table at the ref. Like, yo, you got to step up and make a better call, man. And this season has been so crazy for Sixers injuries and sicknesses. Even the coach has a broken finger now. Anyway, they got some work to do. What's the number one adjustment coming into tomorrow night's game?
Yeah, love the passion, love the energy, and Nick Nurse was right about whatever the refereeing dispute he was mad about. I don't even remember what specific one that was the case, but shout out the energy.
There's too many.
Apparently, he couldn't draw plays in the second half, so they better get my guy an iPad by tomorrow night because we cannot have that happening. But regardless, to answer your question on biggest point, it's right where we started here. I do think it's Joel Embiid that I need. Not even from the production standpoint, I need to see that Joel Embiid is active, engaged, and has that level of passion and will to win that it will require for them to get the job done in this game. That he needs to be the centerpiece. And as much as you can have, the Nico Batums, the Pat Beverleys, the guys that are these energy guys, stars are always going to go or teams are always going to go as their star goes. So I need Joel Embiid to have that type of energy, that type of effort level, that type of driven focus from the opening tip. And I do think the production immediately follows that. He is a guy that feeds off energy, and I do hope there will be more Sixers fans in the crowd tomorrow to feed him with that. But I do think that it is about getting Joel Embiid going early and having him be the positive best version of himself.
Absolutely. Do you think that comes down to Nurse telling him, like, yo, you got to establish yourself early? Or is that more on Joel, just as a leader, as a player, like, man, I got to make my imprint felt, right? Hopefully it won't be a Knicks tirade again, but, does he feed off the crowd? Like, how does he get into that mindset? Because, again, I just feel like he's been playing a lot different in these playoffs, and maybe it's due to the injury, but, I mean, we saw MVP Embiid. Nobody could stop this guy operating out of the low post. What do you think?
I do think it's internal, that I think this is a Joel Embiid thing, that you need to look yourself in the mirror now. You need to figure out whatever it takes to bring it. That I do think it's no secret his body is breaking down. It's very clear that he's not moving like the 100% version of himself. And the unfortunate reality is that's not going to get much better throughout the length of however many more games this Sixers team has to play. But you got to leave everything you got on the floor. And he's done that for the most part. And even me coming off a critical night where he, as you mentioned, had a triple-double and made some really game-winning plays on the defensive side of the ball. And by the way, was the biggest factor in the Sixers winning the rebounding battle, which has been their biggest issue throughout the series. So it certainly was not a huge net loss from Joel Embiid for how poorly that he did play. But it is the attitude for me that I do want to see a cleaner focus. I like that Nick Nurse pulled him in that fourth quarter for a quick 2-minute break. And Nurse called it an uncharacteristic period of play from Joel. I like that. I wouldn't mind a look of that. Like if he's doesn't have it early on in the game, maybe take him out for a quick 2 minutes in the first quarter. I'm out on the play Joel Embiid for the entire second half. He just can't do it or doesn't have it at this point. And he's just not a guy that can kind of press that button. But overall, I do think this is about Joel Embiid looking internally, knowing how much this could mean from a legacy standpoint if you do dig this team out from a 3-1 series deficit and find a way to win. So Joel Embiid, your time is now. Let's step up.
I agree. And there's been moments like this before. And in times we've given him a pass, right? But there's no pass. Like if you're out there, if you're healthy to go, you need to step up. I'm actually going to agree with you, but also twist it a little bit. I think Joel also needs to get in rhythm and he needs to realize this. I don't have to do everything. I don't have to play hero ball. I wouldn't mind seeing Maxey get going early in this game.
Yeah.
Let Maxey go for 10 early because it feels like Maxey's always a little bit timid and then he heats up in the fourth quarter and he's like, all right, now it's my time to take over. But Tyrese Maxey put fear into the entire New York last game. If they want to say what they want about Embiid, they have nothing that can shatter Tyrese Maxey. And I really think getting him in that mindset early, like continuing from that end of last night's game would be huge. I'm not saying use all of Tyrese Maxey up in quarters 1 and 2, but like some possessions don't even have to run through Joel, like let Tyrese cook. I don't think they can guard him. I really don't. So I would get him in that scores mindset early, but I agree. Embiid has to be on his game. The turnovers is the most important thing. Like some of those turnovers in the fourth quarter were so timely and he saw it coming and it almost looked like he gave up in a way. Like he just let into it. And you cannot have that. That completely kills the momentum of a team.
Yeah, totally with you. And I also think, to your point, you could do some dangerous things to this Knicks team if Tyrese Maxey's the guy that's killing you early, and then all of a sudden maybe he's the focal point of the defense. And then what does that set up for Joel Embiid? That if you're getting Embiid in one-on-one coverage on a regular basis, this Sixers team's in good shape. And it hasn't truly been that even the opportunities in which he does drop to the post, they tend to have guys lingering or whatever. But these types of options will make a team have questions and opens everything up for the Sixers team. So yeah, it would be great. And more two-man action between both of them as well.
Absolutely. It's a dynamic duo for a reason. And I also think, obviously, we've said this the whole series, but rebounding will be key, right? Actually, every team that has won the rebounding battle has won the game in this series. Like, it is so essential. And, that's the Knicks' strength. So if you can out-rebound these guys, out-hustle them, not give them 4 chances on a possession, I think you got something cooking. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Drop a like on the show, subscribe to the channel. I want to let you guys know again, for the people just coming in, how you could potentially go to Game 6 tomorrow night. We have partnered up with the Autograph app, and we are giving away 2 tickets for tomorrow night. They will contact you if you win, but here's how you enter. It's very, very easy. Scan this QR code with your phone. Sign up for the Autograph app. It's free, 100% free. It's a cool, community type app. And sign up for a free account. And the link that is pinned in the chat or the QR code will take you right to the offer. You just claim the free Game 6 ticket offer in the app, and you will be entered into the giveaway. The drawing is tomorrow at noon, 12 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to go to the game, or if you know somebody who is interested in going to tomorrow night's game, no Knicks fans, though. No Knicks fans, all right? Only Sixer fans. We don't want them taking over the Wells Fargo. If you're interested in going to a big-time Game 6 tomorrow night, here is your chance to enter. 3 easy steps. And at any point in this show, you can scan the QR code on the bottom of the screen. Shout out to Autograph for partnering with us. Very excited to do a ticket giveaway and would love to do more in the future as well. Sean, one big topic of conversation over the last 24 hours, because we saw Embiid come out with, what was it, 5 or 6 minutes last night? And we're all breathing heavy. What the heck are we doing right now? I mean, the season's on the line. Joel needed a breather, man, and it really helped this team. But what do you do tomorrow? Like, do you match him when Brunson comes off the floor? I thought Nurse should have done that. He did not. Do you play Embiid the whole second half? What's the mindset going forward? Because 4 minutes, Reed came out. And I think Paul Reed's like a minus 45 in this series. I mean, the team without Embiid is a minus 45. Like, they are not sustainable without Joel Embiid. So how much do you play him tomorrow night?
See, I'm pretty bullheaded that you cannot try to play him the full second half. That this is a tactic that we see from the playoffs from a lot of coaches. Nick Nurse is also a guy that their tactic to make your team better come playoff time is simply to play your best players larger minutes. And while that works for a lot of guys in a lot of situations, Joel Embiid does not fit that category of dude, and especially not the version of Joel Embiid who's playing on one knee with half a face and whatever else is going on with him right now. So I'm pretty bullheaded. You can't play him the entirety of the second half. You should not try. The turnovers, they happen when he gets tired. He gets sloppy, and there was a lot of that down the stretch. I'm glad that Nurse did pull him when he did, give him that quick little 2-minute burst. It absolutely gave him the legs down the stretch that I don't think he would have otherwise had. So I think that was the right move, but you can't wait for that in this one. You have to be a little more proactive, whether that means stealing at the beginning of the fourth, the end of the third quarter. You got to find a way to make sure that he has his legs for the final run, because it's better to get the short doses, best version of Joel Embiid than kind of the sloppy play, but around for the entire game, in my opinion.
I think you said something so key right there. The final run. I would
Yeah.
not bench Embiid in the third quarter. I would bench him at the start of the fourth. And I think if you can get that solid, like 7-8 minute run at the end of the game, that is key. Now, if it has to be with 5-6 minutes left, okay. But last night was a little bit too close for comfort for me personally. I would love to have him for the final 7-8 minutes. Let him be, rested for a couple minutes, juice up, get some water, Gatorade, do whatever, and come back in on that final stretch and be ready to go. Even if the rock is running through Tyrese Maxey, the defensive side of the ball, right, is
Yeah.
so key. And we saw that last night. I think that's what Nurse should do. I don't think he's going to rest much because, again, this team is literally unplayable without Joel Embiid. We saw that for 2 months, and we've seen it in, like,
For
I don't know
years.
how many minutes it's been in
Yeah.
this series, like 20 minutes without Joel Embiid, and they're a minus 45. It's the one thing that has scarred us for years. And you can't take him out in crunch time. So either Joel's got to find a way to be good to go, or they got to give him a little breather in the fourth quarter. Otherwise, I think, you could put this team at jeopardy if it's a close game going down the final run.
Yeah, I'm totally with you, and it is all about gearing up for that final run. That we've seen how this series has gone to this point. Neither one of these teams is going to run away with the game. That it's going to be a battle. We got to be braced for war, and I believe the total count on the series is the Sixers have outscored the Knicks by 2 points. That's how close the series has been. I expect nothing different tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think it's fair to say at this point that we kind of know what the rotation is going to be. We're not going to see the Ricky Councils. We're not going to see the KJ Martins unless times get desperate. I think they're going with Batum, Reed, and Payne off the bench. And honestly, I'm not mad at that right now because I think you know what you have from Batum. I mean, he played 33 minutes last night, more than Kyle Lowry, who, by the way, I thought would be more of a factor in this series. He's been physical, which I
He had
like.
foul trouble last game too.
Foul trouble for sure. I like how Kyle has been like almost the instigator in a way. Like I want somebody to get under their skin. Don't get punked. This Knicks team, they have that tough front. That's their identity. But the more you feed into that, the more they're going to take advantage of you. And I like how Kyle's doing little things to try to get in their head. But just as, a facilitator, a scorer, I thought he'd be a little more of a factor in this series. But Batum ends up playing more minutes anyway. So I'm not too mad at it. Lowry's at the tail end of his career. And I love the campaign minutes, man. He is an absolute bucket getter off the bench and just such a spark plug for this team.
The dude's just got balls, man. The campaign
Oh,
just
yeah.
wants to go in there and let it rip. And I love that because, like, we've seen so many guys look a little bit scared of the moment in a Sixers uniform before. That is not campaign by any means. That he's going to be dancing, he's going to be hopping around, talking, chirping, and letting it fly the second that he has an opportunity to do so. So I've been very impressed with campaign this series. I do think that he is a little bit of a spark plug X factor, that he's earned himself the opportunity moving forward. We'll see what the Buddy Hield situation is. It would be nice. Like, this is another situation where Buddy's skill set would be awesome on this team, but he just has not been that. So you can't trust him to do the case. And he's also still been a very good teammate. Like, shout out Tyrese Maxey told the story post game of he kind of was upset with himself during the process of the game, and Buddy basically walked over and was just like, well, you made these mistakes. What are you going to do about it now? How are you going to fix this? You're good enough to do so. So I did want to give a little shout out there that I think it's cool. He's still engaged with all these guys, still a part of the team in the way that you would hope. And then as far as kind of the Kyle Lowry comments, like, I agree. I still think overall he's been a net positive, fairly good in this series. But I think the advantage that we're seeing with this Sixers team is they're better when they're going big. When you have this roster where you're getting a ton of 6'6" and above guys with the Tobias Harris, the Nico Batum, the Kelly Oubre, along with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, that's a big squad that you are out muscling the Knicks to an extent, and they need that type of advantage based on the rebounding battle, and particularly even a play like last night. If Kyle Lowry's in the game instead of Nico Batum, we're living with whatever happened on that Brunson jumper at the buzzer. Instead, It was Batum who was able to swat that away. So shout out to Batum for stepping up. I do think that Lowry's still been solid and provided some good minutes, but I think it's the right call leaning in Batum's direction.
Unbelievable stretch last night. I still can't believe they got it done. Like, we all thought it was over, and the fact like, the Sixers never win those games,
Yeah.
and the fact we won that game, it just gives me confidence going into tomorrow night, and, man, if they can pull one out, it would be crazy. Uh, Buddy's been disappointing, man. I wish he
Yeah.
was more of a factor. I mean, I feel like he's just hopeless at this point. It's frustrating, but at least you're getting production out of campaign, so hopefully this team can come through. Um, how do you think this game's gonna go? And for the people in the chat, give us your final like score predictions. Give us your final takes. Like, how does this game go? Do the Sixers get the win, or do they get embarrassed tomorrow night like they haven't at past in past years on their home floor? Or do we go to a game 7 on Saturday night in Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, keep your schedules free for Saturday, people. That I do expect there to be a game 7 here. This game's going to be a battle that I don't think that there is going to be a point where either of these teams really runs away with things. It's going to be war, just as it has been from start to finish this year. I expect a focused effort from the Sixers from the start. At the beginning of the series, I thought they did a really excellent job of having a game plan put in place, knowing what you're doing with the ball, and kind of from a strategy standpoint for the first couple possessions, and have been able to grab like a stranglehold of the game from there. It hasn't been quite as impressive, probably the past 2, maybe even 3 games to this point. I want to get back to that where they jump on this Knicks team from the start. You got to find a way to every chance you have to just dig into that lead. You have to, because there was a lot of moments I felt in last game where it just kind of floated out there, where they let this Knicks team off the hook when they weren't scoring or things like that. So keep the offense consistent, build a lead as much as you can. But ultimately, I do expect this to come down to the wire. But for the Sixers to be the team kind of fighting to keep the Knicks down and ultimately being capable of doing just that.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good point. And also I would encourage the Sixers team not to try to shoot their way out of it. Like, I feel like yesterday they were in a stretch where they just were not hitting anything, specifically in the second quarter. They were getting outscored 20-2, and they had no identity. They were just chucking up shots early in the shot clock, and they needed to get back to the basics. They needed
Yeah.
to let the ball play out of Joel in the low post. And once they started doing that in the third, whatever Nurse said to them at halftime, it's like the team was jolted and they started making shots and things just became a lot easier. So don't try to beat this Knicks team at their own game. Play your game. Play what got you here. And if they do that tomorrow night and Joel looks a lot better, and I think he has no excuses at this point, like, there's no reason the Sixers should not win this game. Like, other than Jalen Brunson maybe dropping 50, I don't see a way that any guy on the Knicks comes out and just beats you single-handedly. Like,
Yeah.
Tyrese Maxey beat you single-handedly last night. I'm not scared of Josh Hart doing that. I'm not scared of Dante DiVincenzo doing that. I'm not scared of McBride, Hartenstein, none of them. And even if Brunson gives you 45, I mean, I still feel like you can win the game because you have Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey.
Do you hate this Knicks team, RB? Because I officially for sure do.
You know, it is really disheartening to me, Sean, because I am a Nova fan and I loved all these guys and I've watched almost all their college games, but I have come to hate them in this
Yeah.
series. And more specifically, the fan base.
For sure.
There's been a lot of solid Knicks fans in my streams, humble ones. But these Knicks fans, I'll tell you what, I was putting out an APB report today because after game 2, they were all talk.
They're having a parade, man. I don't know if we saw outside the stadium there. I thought they won the championship.
They were having a parade like they just won the freaking NBA finals, burning in jerseys, and we want Boston. We want Boston. Guys, this is a series. And it's funny how, the Knicks were talking about karma, right? We talked too early at the end of game 2. And when things come back around, because karma always comes back around, they were nowhere to be found last night. I mean, literal crickets across the airwaves, man. Internet,
Yeah.
crickets. They had a worse choke than we did. And I think they know that they let one get away. And guess what? It wasn't because of the refs like it was in game 2. The Knicks just simply choked. And boy, oh boy, if the Sixers win tomorrow night, Sean, this would be the greatest series win ever.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine the Knicks. We're going to be playing all the clips from game 1 and game 2 and all the fan stuff. If they lose this series, especially after that choke last night, oh my gosh, it will be one of the greatest things. I will be on top of the world. I will be on top of the world, man.
Yeah, I'm absolutely with you. And I've very much grown to hate this Knicks team from start to finish. Jalen Brunson is just Catholic school Trae Young. I can't get over the way that he is just jumping back into guys, the foul baiting, which I truly believe is far more obnoxious than Joel Embiid. And if you give Tyrese Maxey half that whistle, we're talking about MVP Tyrese Maxey right now. I truly feel that is the case. I've hated that from Brunson. Josh Hart just is not the guy that he shot himself into being through the first couple games. I'm glad he came down to the earth and hit that wall of reality right there. And then
Oh, yeah.
DiVincenzo's been pretty quiet as well. And then when we talk about beyond that, what really is there? Isaiah Hartenstein, Mitchell Robinson, these guys are supposed to scare me. So I'm feeling good. I hate this Knicks team. These guys all honestly like suck a little more than I thought was the case, to be perfectly honest. And I get it. We're Sixers are still down 3-2 here, that there's still work to be done. But I'm feeling like the cream is starting to rise to the top in the series, even though it did take a little bit.
And guess what, man? The Sixers are right here for the taking. I mean, it's not so far in the distance now where we're like, oh, like that's just not going to happen. Like we are right here. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I agree. The Knicks toughness can only get them so far. Like I feel like superstars got to win you playoff series and games, and we're seeing that right now. So we'll see what happens. The Sixers ownership is giving away tickets tomorrow, so hopefully, Sixer fans out there, do not sell your tickets to Knicks fans, man. You got to do a whole inspection. No Knicks fans. All right. Screaming Jerry member for 12 months is foul baiting Brunson. He has been unbearable in this series at times. I know they talk about Embiid. Does Embiid foul bait? Sure, but not jumping entirely back into guys, doing hop steps into guys' chest. I mean, it has gotten ridiculous, and they keep rewarding it, So I don't know, man. They're going to say the opposite of us, of course, but it's tough to watch. It really is Trae Young-esque, and I thought they were trying to get away from that. So
100%. And let's not let this get lost here. Just what a loser organization the New York Knicks are. That for all this talk about the Sixers, the process years, whatever. You know when the last time the Knicks went to an NBA Finals as RB? Because it was before Allen Iverson.
I wasn't born yet.
We're talking before this century, before the 2000s. So, yeah, I don't want to hear these Knicks teams pumping their chests. What if they needed a Jeremy Lin run or maybe a little Carmelo Anthony energy to have any sort of relevancy. This team is the best that they have been in quite literal decades to this point. So shout out to you guys, and disappointing that I do think it ends in a first-round exit.
And you know what really frustrates me, Sean, that I'm hearing all over is, oh, well, basketball is better because the Knicks are good and in the playoffs. How come nobody talks about the Sixers or Joel Embiid? It's not like the Sixers are some lost, forgotten franchise, right? Like, obviously, we've had our troubles, but seeing Joel Embiid get to the pinnacle would be amazing for the game of basketball. Like, seeing a guy with no basketball experience till the age of 15 come along, go through what he has, and get to where he's at, that would be great for the game. And people just poo-poo it away like, oh, it's nothing, and the Sixers are nothing. But it's all about the Knicks, man. And like you said, they don't have the track record to really give them those type of compliments, in my opinion. And it's frustrating. So I hope the Sixers beat them down tomorrow. I would love for nothing more than a 15-point win and go out there and handle business, man. Joel Embiid said it. I never heard him talk this confident. He said, we are winning this series. That's a bold claim. Sixers got to back it up.
Yep, 2 more to go, and whatever it takes to get there. And yeah, I hate this Knicks team. I want nothing more than to see it. They are an irrelevant franchise. They are the dregs of the NBA. That they're the Charlotte Hornets that just happen to be located in a major city here. But you know what? They're getting their chance. And by the way, it is crazy to me the amount of people who just straight up hate Joel Embiid, man. Like, I think there's more people out there on this planet that hate Joel Embiid than like him, which is insane to me.
It's unreal. It makes no sense.
In the city as well.
Yeah. I don't get it, man. They're blaming Embiid. I'm not even going to get into it yet till the season's over. But man, I mean, Joel's doing everything he can out there, and we'll call it out when he plays bad, but he's out there literally on his last limb. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. Brandon Gatsky, $2 super chat, says Maxey with Brunson's refs would have dropped 70. Yo, Maxey was getting shoved, especially in overtime. Brunson doesn't even have to do half of that to get the calls. Maxey's falling all over, getting shoved. They don't call anything for Maxey. So the fact that he beat the Knicks, he beat the whole damn MSG, he beat the refs. Maxey's a stud, man. We have a bright future with Tyrese Maxey.
Oh, yeah. Not just the Sixers, but the league is in good hands, man. And I think he's going to be one of those ones when we're talking about how good he is amongst the NBA's best. There's a real world where we're talking about within the near future, the next 2 to 3 years, of Tyrese Maxey as a legitimate top 10, top 15 NBA player. We're not that far off from it right now.
It's incredible. And I think he's gone through all the downfalls. all the failures by the age of 23 years old. And I think it just fuels them. It gives them more experience and a better shot of just understanding what it takes. You know, a lot of these guys don't get to the playoffs till they're 24, 25. Maxey's been through the ringer, man. And I think he's really learned from those experiences. Yellow Army $5 super chat says Boston Nation is waiting for you guys. See ya. Shout out to you. Hopefully we'll see you in the Eastern Conference Finals. Guys, I want to thank everybody for coming through. We got a ton of people in the chat. I want to let you know that one lucky person out there can go to the game tomorrow night. The Sixers ownership is giving away tickets, but I want to give it to one of the Philly Take diehards, okay? And I'm going to let you guys know one more time, if you're just tapping in, how you can do that. And then we'll give our final score predictions. But ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow night, if you are interested in going to Game 6, Sixers versus Knicks, there is a giveaway going on. We've partnered with the Autograph app, and they are giving away 2 lucky tickets to one of you out there. All you have to do, scan this QR code. It'll take you to the app. Click on the link, sign up for a free account, and claim the free Game 6 ticket offer. You will be entered into the giveaway, which will be tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern. Noon Eastern tomorrow, somebody will be going to Game 6, courtesy of Philly Take and the Autograph app. And a winner will be selected. They will contact you via email. And hopefully it's one of you people out there, one of the diehards. So I'm excited to hopefully see somebody get to go. We will be live on the stream. I might be losing my damn mind tomorrow, Sean. I mean, I almost did last night. I could not sleep after that freaking shot by Maxey. But man, what an incredible game last night. And I hope we get another big one tomorrow. And shout out to Brandon Gatsky, $2 super chat says Maxey future MVP. I don't think that's an
I'm
out
not
of this
saying
world
no.
take.
I'm not saying no.
I don't think that's an out of this world type of take. Like Tyrese Maxey, future MVP, maybe one day. He's only 23.
Yeah.
Imagine when he's 28, what this team could be, man. I'm excited for the future, and he just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, as I said earlier, whatever your ceiling was for Tyrese Maxey, it was too low. That there's no reason to put any sort of cap on how good this guy can get, because I seriously have not seen a player just improve at the rate that he has, and I don't expect it to stop.
Absolutely, man. And what a freaking series he has had. I don't know off the top of my head what he's averaging, but it's got to be in the 30s. And he's been absolutely incredible. And this was the jump that we finally wanted to see, and we finally got it. We'll end off with our score predictions. Drop yours in the chat. What are the score predictions for tomorrow night? Sean, I'll give you the floor.
All right, so I do think it's going to be a battle, as I mentioned. We've seen some pretty low-scoring games. I think that trend continues. I'm going to lock it in 104-98 Sixers is the final score. I do think the Sixers punch from above during the stretch of this game where they're holding a little bit of a lead, and ultimately they are able to fend off this Knicks team. So once again, 104-98, Sixers get the victory and prepare for Game 7 at MSG.
My prediction was actually very similar. I was going to say 107-99. I just feel like it'll be one of those tight games for like 2.5, 3 quarters. It'll come down to who gets that final stretch going. And I hope, the Sixers give Embiid a little breather and they come back in with the crowd getting hype, right? They're not going to be a letdown like last time, hopefully. And I think Maxey and Embiid will take us home and take us to victory. And I think the pressure will be on in Game 7 for the New York Knicks. So I'm going 107-99. And give us your final thoughts in the chat. $2 super chat from Pee Wee. He says, Cavs fan here rooting for the Sixers. Let's go. And the Cavs are up 3-2, right? After that win yesterday.
I believe so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. That's definitely the series I've watched the least, unfortunately.
I don't think anybody's really watching. No offense to the Cavs fans. Just an interesting first round series. But I know the Celtics just beat Miami. They crushed them again. So Celtics have punched their ticket. I was surprised to see the Bucks blow out the Pacers like they did last night. I didn't get to go back and watch like what happened or how that went, but I did pick the Pacers in 6, so I am going to pick them to close them out. Unfortunately, that game pushed ours to 9 p.m.
Yeah.
And the Sixers got to play it on a late tip, but hey, maybe the New York fans don't want to travel all the way back at 1 a.m. and go to work the next day. So maybe that'll be a positive for Philly.
I hope so, and I do expect a better crowd turnout. Shout out to Michael Rubin and all the other guys who put together the ticket kind of thing, giving them to some first responders, medical personnel, some people that really deserve it much more than the New York cockroaches for sure. So I think there will be some better vibes in the arena, and I do think that Philly will show out in a way that there feels to be much more belief in this game than there was at the point where they played the first 2 at home, which I love to see.
Somebody in the chat said it's going to be a quadruple overtime game. I really hope not. I don't think my heart can take that. Ader Navarro says Sixers 105-96. We got a 110-103 Sixers, 107-99. Same prediction. Same prediction. Dogfight Sixers 105-98, 112-97 Knicks, 113-111 Knicks, 109-98 Brunson Cooks Maxey. Yeah, you don't believe that. You don't believe that. Sixers are getting this dub, baby. Let's go, man. Ader Navarro, $2 super chat says Tyrese F and Maxey. Man, imagine if he does something special tomorrow night. Imagine if he puts this entire world on a showcase again and he drops like 40 points. I mean, you got people today saying he could be the face of this damn franchise. He already could be. You know what I mean? He's that good. So we'll see, man. We'll see.
And quick aside on that real quick. The conversation is this Joel Embiid's team, is this Tyrese Maxey's team? Like, why? Why are we having this? Like, Jamal Murray hit 2 game winners in the opening round. Are we saying, are the Nuggets Jamal Murray's team? Like, guys can't win individually. Let's celebrate that Joel Embiid has a guy he can lean on in Tyrese Maxey, rather than trying to make this some hot take debate, is my little 2 cents there.
No, I agree 100%. They're always trying to find a way to stir up the drama in Philadelphia. Let us go out there and battle tomorrow night and get a W. Sixers, all we ask is that you go out there with a dogfight. You know, don't quit, don't give up, and go out there and play your hardest to the last whistle. So we'll see what happens, man. But Sean, I want to thank you for coming on. Hopefully we can get another preview before Game 7, because it's going to 7 back in New York. Sean, let the people know where they can find you and all your work.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it, RB. And as far as for me, you can follow me on Twitter at Sean_Bernard1. Check out Pick Swap Media as well as Sixers Digest and Fox Sports The Gambler, where I do all my Sixers coverage across those lanes. We'll have a video dropping on Sixers Digest right here on YouTube pretty soon after this. I'll be jumping into that next, so stay posted for that. And yeah, I'm with you, RB, that we're going to have to tune something up before Saturday.
Absolutely, guys. Support great content creators like Sean. Thank you all for coming through. If you're watching it on the replay, be sure to like this show and subscribe. And again, click the link pin in the chat. It'll also be down in the description. Use code PhillyTake when you sign up for a chance to win tickets to tomorrow's Game 6. That being said, man, Sean, it's now or never, man. It's now or never. Don't let us down. Big W tomorrow night, and it's going to be a late one. So be sure you have your caffeine in you.
Yeah, legacy game for a lot of guys. So Joel, Tyrese Maxey, let's get after it. You went this far, let's keep it rolling.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you on the live stream tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Get ready, man. Big time game incoming. You guys have a great rest of your night. Catch you on the next one. Philly take forever. Peace.